Good evening. Here we are on a Friday night, ready to talk about some football. Well, yesterday, the NFL season officially started with the Houston Texans taking on the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. So I've been waiting for this for for this season to kick off for a very long time, okay? And finally, it started. So today, I'm simply just going to talk about the game, okay? That's all I'm going to talk about today. So, are you ready to get your fix? Well, this is a pretty exciting game, being that it was the first of the season and people everywhere literally have been waiting for this moment. I thought the players did a phenomenal job to start the game, going arm in arm for a moment of unity in which the fans actually started booing, which, in my opinion, was just kind of uncalled for. I get it, you want to play football, but this issue has to be at the forefront of everything. It's bigger than football. It's bigger than a lot of things. So kudos to the players for doing that. Anyways, let's get to the actual game. Okay, so the first quarter really just kind of flew by, but we got to see some pretty good things. One of those things was David Johnson for the Houston Texans. This man showed he can still ball and was looking a lot like his old self back in that 2016 season where he had, I think it was like 2,100 yards from scrimmage. So he showed that he has a good sense of awareness and utilizes his jukes to his advantage, which was really nice to see. You could really tell that the Texans wanted to establish that running game right away, right from the start, in which I thought they did an excellent job of doing. But on the Chiefs side of things, Mahomes can obviously still throw that ball really well. He had a really nice throw to Demarcus Robinson that at first was called a touchdown, but then it was ruled incomplete as he didn't have complete possession of that ball. It was a beautiful throw. From Mahomes, and a pretty good effort from that Robinson guy, because there was no other place that Mahomes could even place that ball, and let alone to try to make that catch, it was kind of, he had to torque his body a little bit over, and there was a corner right behind him. So, to try to even come close to catching that ball, both of them, kudos to them. One takeaway that I got from the Chiefs in the first quarter was that they were kind of really hit and miss, it seemed like. It seemed like they were just trying to get those first game jitters out of the way and had a little bit of confusion going on, but eventually that kind of goes away. So at the end of the first quarter, it was 7-0 Texans. Then you go to the second quarter where things really kind of fell apart for the Texans. They had two drives in the second quarter in which the first resulted in a punt, and then the second resulted in a missed field goal of about 51 yards. So the Texans looked like they wanted to pass a little more this quarter, but it just wasn't working out. I feel like they have a lot of young receivers, a lot of non-veterans on that team. They have Randall Cobb, who just came over from the Cowboys, so he's still learning the playbook. The receivers just couldn't even hold on to the ball that well. And Will Fuller, he actually had a couple drops that could have maybe kept him in the ball game. There was a couple times I was like, well, that could have been a touchdown, but he dropped it. It was right in his hands, no corner around him, and it wasn't his day at that point in the game anyways. But now the second quarter was really huge for the Chiefs, where they had three drives, which the first two resulted in a touchdown, one to Kelsey and then one to Sammy Watkins, and then the third one resulted in a 29-yard field goal. Okay, so the Chiefs showed us that in this quarter, they really haven't lost a step at all. And there was one guy in particular that really caught my eye, okay, and continued to do so the rest of the game. He was constantly in my mind thinking, wow, this guy, he's something else. That man, it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a rookie. Okay, he absolutely balled out, and showed that he is for sure a starting running back in this league, no doubt. He was crazy good. He has crazy good vision, really good footwork. His awareness is off the charts. That's what you need in the back, and he got the job done. He just bounces around, and once he finds a hole, bam, he takes off, and he's loose, and he's just like a freight train out there. He's a little guy, and at half, they were up 17-7. They scored 17 unanswered points in that second quarter. 17. Okay, then we go to the third quarter, where really the Texans looked sloppy again and unaware of the situation that they were put in. They had to punt their first possession, and then their second possession, Watson threw an interception to the Chiefs' rookie defensive back, L'Jarius Sneed, who actually took over for I believe, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was hurt. One of their starting corners was hurt. So this guy had to step up, and he got an interception. He played phenomenally well. He's going to be a monster. Okay, he's going to be a monster for the Chiefs, and it's really obvious in this game what he can do. And he had a couple deflections, I'm pretty sure. He just looked really solid at that cornerback position. So continue to watch for him throughout the season. He might have to go to the slot corner if that guy comes back. But still, keep an eye out for Jarius Sneed. So on the Chiefs side of things, their first drive resulted in a touchdown from rookie running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like, again, phenomenal job he had. This was a quarter that I was like, okay, this man is an absolute monster. This is literally the quarter. Like, it was like, I want to say like 5-10 minutes into it, and I was like, okay. I'm like, we got to keep an eye out on this guy because he's going to ball out this season. He's going to have a really, really good year, okay? He won't go down. He won't go down at all. This man is 5'7", 207 pounds. So he's built to just get the ball and power through the line and then all of a sudden let his speed do the work. Because he's fast. He's got some speed on him. And then, if he can continue to do what he's doing at this game or after this game or whatever, he's going to be just fine, okay? At the end of the third quarter, that score was 24-7 Chiefs. Now we got 24 unanswered points scored by the Chiefs. Where's the Texans offense? Where is DeAndre Hopkins really that big of an issue for you guys? Because you had to get rid of him, so you brought in David Johnson, and now you are kind of just laying an egg in this first game. What's going on? But anyways, you go to the fourth quarter, okay? And now we see the Texans actually make a little push. Not a big push, a little push. And they started to play some football, actually. They didn't look confused. They were clicking on all cylinders. They knew what they had to do. They scored right away with Watson throwing their tight end, Jordan Akins, and failed the two-point conversion. Okay, so now they have 13 points. But once they got the ball back again, they marched, and then Watson ran it in. So now we're looking at about 20 to 24. Okay? Or it was about 20 to, I want to say 31 at that point because the Chiefs ended up scoring before that. I'll get to that, though. So the Chiefs ended up scoring, I think it was 31 unanswered points or something like that crazy. And then finally these guys started clicking. The Texans started scoring, and now it's 20 to 31. But they weren't really giving up, okay? They were really fighting to the very end, but the Chiefs, they just have too much firepower, okay? The Chiefs last year, they showed that they can throw the ball, and they couldn't run that well at all, but imagine if the Chiefs can both run and pass the ball this season. If they can do that, we could be looking at an undefeated season. Now, I know it's early, but if they continue to do what they did last night, they're going to walk their way to the Super Bowl again. Walk their way there. The only team I see them having trouble with is maybe Baltimore, maybe. But if their defense plays as well as they did last night, I don't think they're going to have an issue. I really don't. I mean, Mahomes ended up throwing a touchdown to Tyreek Hill in this quarter, and then they kicked a 10-yard field goal. So they really just put the icing on the cake there. So, but this game ended up, Chiefs won 34-20. And so for each game, I'm actually going to give my top 3 players for each team and just a little bit about that. So for the Texans, my third best player would have to be Will Fuller. Okay, like I said earlier, he started off at a couple drops that should have been probably touchdown. He was wide open. But hey, he had 8 receptions, 112 yards receiving. So he really showed that he is capable of taking over that number 1 wide receiver spot that DeAndre Hopkins actually had last year. So Will Fuller did a really, really decent job, I think. And the second best player would have to be Deshaun Watson, who went 20 for 32 passing with 253 passing yards and a touchdown and 1 interception. He also ran for 27 yards and got a touchdown as well. So he went out there, balled out. This is nothing new. This is what Deshaun Watson is capable of doing. He's done it every year that he's been in the league. So he's definitely my number 2 player. So the best player, I would have to say, was David Johnson, just because he showed us that he's back to his old self and he had a really, really good awareness on the field. His ball carrying was just really, really nice. His footwork was beautiful. He just showed us that I'm back. Like I'm ready to play some ball. So anyways, I think David Johnson had like 88 or 80 some yards last night, but so he had an all right night, but he still was able to show that, hey, I can move around and stuff like that. So for the Chiefs, my third best player would have to be Travis Kelce, who didn't drop a pass. He went 6 for 6, catching or receiving, I guess I should say, for about 50 yards and a touchdown. So, again, this is what Kelsey does. No shocker there. Didn't drop a ball. And he's just going to continue to ball all season. I can already guarantee that. So the second best player, in my opinion, was Patrick Mahomes. He went 24 for 32 with 211 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. So he had a really nice game. Okay, this was to be expected from Mahomes, as we all know what he's actually capable of doing. So, again, just like Deshaun Watson, nothing new here. But the best player, in my eyes, was Clyde Edwards-Helaire, like I've been kind of talking up here. He had 138 rushing yards on 25 carries and a touchdown. In the NFL, you only need 132 rushing yards to break the record every game. If you get 132 every game, you're going to break the record of 2,105 rushing yards in a season. This man is already on pace for that. Now, I know there's a lot of season left, but if he can continue to do what he's doing and stay healthy, there's no doubt in my mind that he can at least try to break that record. This man is a freak, and he really put his name on the map last night. Well, that's going to end our discussion today. Yesterday's game was just a glimpse of what's really to come in the future, and man, I'm excited for the rest of the season to play out. We got a lot of games on Sunday. We got Vikings-Packers, that's a division game. We got Tampa Bay and the Saints, another division game. So, there's a whole lot more games going to be played. So just stay tuned. I will be here Monday. So thanks for stopping by, and you just got your fix with the Wicks.